comes up looking bigger. Some people do like this. This is also not flattering because it looks like you don't have any arms at all.
Okay, guys, this is round two. We're going to cross our fingers and hope for no technical difficulties. Thank you for your patience. The first time we went live, there was this strange echo. I'm going to check my laptop to make sure that echo is
on my
gone.
thigh. Naturally. Classy women are very much aware about their chin and their neck whenever they take pictures. Especially, my dear elegant double chin ladies need to listen up. Because whatever is going on here is really important. I'm gonna show you. Whenever we take a picture, we don't do this. We do this. We are extending our chin forward and we are tilting it slightly. Always think about elongating your neck. This is very important because if you stand like this in pictures, you're gonna look more compact and you're gonna look wider. You want to really roll back your shoulder, you want to have great posture, and you want to really extend.
I think I might have discovered the problem. I think there was another audio running. Very strange. I've never had this before. Hey, Daniela, you're so patient and wonderful. Thank you for coming back. Have we tackled the audio issues? Yes, yay. It looks good on my end. You tell me how it looks and especially how it sounds. Goodness, I am determined. When there's a problem, we do our best to overcome them, correct? And don't give up if it's something that you really want. And I want to be with you guys today and have our first live stream, so I'm not one to give up easily. Okay, I think it sounds good. I wish I could have confirmation, Daniela. Or if someone else can join, Daniela. Okay. All right. I say we're good to go. We're going to jump in. Yes. There's nowhere else to look, right? You have to search around. There is a solution somewhere. Just don't give up. And that ties in with the theme that we have today, resolutions and affirmations. And I'll get into the difference between the two. But it is the new year. We always have these hopes and wishes for a new year. We can be very optimistic at the beginning. But as you just saw, this is a good example where you have the best intentions. You start your plan and something goes wrong. And the question is, what are you going to do? Are you going to give up? And of course, you'll feel frustrated, but can you look for solutions and try to overcome them? And if you keep that vision that you want, and I want to go live, then you keep going forward, and eventually a solution should present itself. So, yay, Daniela confirmed that I found the solution and the sound is good. But I am going to try probably next month because I bought a new microphone and I tested it twice this week and I got some good results. I did test live streams, but I will have to do a third test and we'll try it out next month with the new mic because I like the headset, but I wanted to move to a different type of mic, and I think you'll enjoy the switch, but we'll have to wait until February for that. Thank you for your patience, and we're going to switch over to the screen sharing right here. As we know, it's the start of a new year. I told you in the first attempt to go live that we had some family plans. My daughter had a sleepover. She was invited by friends, some girlfriends, and they got together and they met the new year together and they slept over because obviously it's quite late, so they didn't go home. They stayed together, slept over, and then I saw her the next day. My son and I went out to dinner. And then we came home, watched some TV, and we watched the ball drop, the big lit up ball in New York City. In Times Square, people gather and watch the ball drop. It's one way to enjoy a countdown to the new year. And so we always like to tune in and watch the ball drop in Times Square. And then we watched a movie, and I stayed up quite late, but it was New Year's Eve, so I thought it was okay to break that kind of rule of trying to get to sleep early enough to get a good night's rest. But New Year's Eve is kind of an exception. Maybe you can let me know in the chat, you members who are here, how you celebrated New Year's Eve. Did you stay up? Did you stay up till midnight? Did you count down? What did you do at midnight? Some people make a toast. Some people eat a meal. There's different traditions. And speaking of traditions, what I have here are some meals and foods that people like to eat. Every family, every culture has a tradition. Perhaps some of these are familiar to you. The question is, why would people eat these foods on New Year's Eve? Because a lot of these foods have symbolism. They represent something. They represent our hopes and wishes for the new year. So let me scroll down a little bit like this, and you can see the choices, and perhaps you can help me remember how to match them up. Why would people eat a whole fish? What does a whole fish represent? Why do people eat long noodles? Can you figure that out? Some people like to make sure they eat green leafy vegetables on New Year's Eve. What might that represent? And I don't know if you know this fruit, the pomegranates. A fruit and lots of little seeds are inside. So if they're of a strong red color and people like to eat this, what might this represent? The pomegranates. And some families eat pork because it comes from an animal that moves and hopefully moves forward. Right? What do people want to achieve? Hey, Yvonne joined. I see Yvonne there. Thank you. Glad to have you here. Daniela, you spent time with a puppy. It was, it was scared of the fireworks. Yes, yes. We enjoy seeing the fireworks, but pets, of course, they don't understand those loud sounds. So I can imagine dogs being scared of the fireworks. The explosions are quite loud, and that could definitely scare a dog or another pet. Okay. You set off fireworks. Good question. You set off fireworks. You set off fireworks. Right? Lots of good vocabulary, right? There's a countdown. Some people make a toast, right? Some people sit down and have a meal at midnight. Plenty of people or towns and cities set off fireworks. There's a firework display on New Year's Eve. Most of the major cities set off fireworks at midnight to ring in the new year. Okay? Yes. All right. So whole fish, that might be harder to match up, but we can do this through process of elimination. Long noodles, you can match it up. Oh, look, long life, right? Let's match that. We'll just delete that and put it up here. People eat noodles because the noodles represent long life. That's a nice tradition, isn't it? Has anyone ever eaten long noodles on New Year's Eve? Think of green leafy vegetables and think of US dollars. Hey Yvonne, yes, long time no see. Glad you're here. What might the green leafy vegetables? Think of money, especially paper money, right? I'll just shorten that to money. Green leafy vegetables, money. So it's good for your health, and hey, maybe it will bring you good luck and you can have a greater fortune in 2023. I don't think it's too late. You know, you could have some green leafy vegetables all this week, the first week of January. Think of this one. Okay, if some people want to eat certain meat from an animal, thinking that the animal represents movement, movement forward, what would that be? Progress. Some people eat meat, some people don't. If you don't eat meat, you might go for the green leafy vegetables and the noodles. Some people eat a whole fish, not just a piece, but a whole. A whole is a lot, and so what might that represent? I like fish. Does anyone else eat fish? I did have fish, by the way. When my son and I went to the restaurant on New Year's Eve, I ordered fish. I had baked fish. Abundance is the noun, abundant is the adjective. So a whole fish can represent abundance. Abundance. Abundance is the noun, abundant is the adjective. If you'd like a life of abundance, life of filled with lots of things. And that would mean that if you eat pomegranates, perhaps you're hoping for health and prosperity. And that's also something that we include in our wishes. You could always say Happy New Year and leave it at that. But if you want to be more detailed, you can wish someone good health and good luck, good fortune, and prosperity, meaning so that they earn enough to feel very comfortable in life. Prosperity. Right? If you ate something in particular on New Year's Eve, you can let me know and tell me. Did you eat it just for fun because that's what you enjoy? Or did you eat a certain food because it's a tradition? And that's also a question I welcome members to answer either now or if you're watching the video. The recording will be available, and on the community tab, you can put your comments on the post, right? What did you eat on New Year's Eve? As I told you, I had fish. But I eat different foods on New Year's Eve. Although on New Year's Day, it's my grandmother gave us the tradition of eating sausage, kielbasi, and or pork. So she also felt that pork was for good luck on New Year's Eve. Yes, Happy New Year to you all. Thank you, Yvonne. As I'm moving along, if anyone has a question, feel free to put it in the chat. It is a member-only chat. Just click join and you can become a member. It's just $1 a day, $1 a month, $1 a month, and you get access to the live chat now. There will be a follow-up task after the live stream so you can gain more practice. Okay? Did you know that? Did you know that certain foods have symbolism? Perhaps next New Year's Eve, you might choose one of these foods and bring yourself some more good luck. Okay, there were some questions that came in. Let me do a quick Q&A. As I'm answering, I'll keep checking the chat, and if new questions get posted, I'll do my best to answer them. Okay? All right, somebody had asked me recently, what does have friends over mean? I'll actually go into more detail on Instagram later this month. I wanted to address this phrasal verb, have someone over. Okay, so it's a phrasal verb, it needs an object, and it's separable. Have someone over. Well, here's my hint. Look at my question. Did you have friends or family over for New Year's Eve? What am I asking? It looks like Yvonne had different foods, lots of foods. You had abundance. Lots of different foods, meat, salads, and fish. On New Year's Eve, it was just us. We didn't have any guests over. So my son and I watched the ball drop. It was just us. My daughter was at her sleepover. So we did not have friends and family over. We did not have guests. So having friends and family is about having guests over. Right? Inviting them, I'd say having guests over. Inviting them, and then entertaining and feeding them. Right? That's what it means to have friends over. It's a phrasal verb, it's separable. You always separate it. You don't say have over friends, but have someone over. Have my friends over. Have my cousins over. And if you have them over, you invite them and you entertain them, you feed them. You're the host and they are your guests. So did you have any friends over? You can let me know in the comments. No, I didn't have anyone over, or yes, I had some friends over for New Year's Eve, right? Hey, Paula, good to have you. Paula, you can let us know. What did you do on New Year's Eve? Did you eat any special foods? Did you have friends over? Did you set off fireworks or watch fireworks being set off by someone else? Yes, Yvonne. So maybe with all that food, you had company over, you had neighbors over, you had friends over, or just family. And then you sat down and you enjoyed the meal together. This weekend, you can be saying, like, I'm going to have some friends over. And we're just going to have a meal and hang out. I'm going to have some friends over. Okay? All right, another question came in about adjective clauses and phrases. When are commas needed? Okay. Some people might not care too much about punctuation because maybe you don't do too much writing. If you do writing, especially for academic or professional purposes, you do want to understand how commas are used. But even if you don't do much writing, adjective clauses have two kinds. Either we're giving additional information or necessary information, and our voice reflects whether it's additional or necessary. So if there are commas, our voice pauses with those commas. It sets off that information. So I have two sentences here, A and B. I'll read them, and then you can tell me which sentence needs commas. Where are we going to set off the adjective clause because it's additional information, not necessary? Okay. A, the tradition of banging pots and pans at midnight, which I learned from my grandmother, is something I passed on to my children. And B, the restaurant that we went to on New Year's Eve wasn't cheap, but it wasn't terribly expensive either. Did you hear me pause? Listen to my voice. Hey, Ray. Yvonne, so you could say in your example, yes, I had, past tense, right? I had some friends over. We ate together and we danced. We had dinner and we danced. I had some friends over because you were the host. Okay. Again, we're trying to determine where commas are needed. Where the adjective clauses are placed, I'll highlight them, right? Adjective clauses are clauses that come after the noun that they're describing, and we get some information. The question is whether it's additional or necessary information to clearly identify the noun. So here we're talking about the tradition. What tradition? There's the adjective clause. Let's put that in blue. And here, what restaurant? We're describing the restaurant. We went to this restaurant on New Year's Eve. Again, I'll read them, and you can listen for the pause. When I'm pausing, I'm setting off the adjective clause because it's extra information. It's not really needed. Listen. A, the tradition of banging pots and pans at midnight, which I learned from my grandmother, is something I passed on to my children. B, the restaurant that we went to on New Year's Eve wasn't cheap, but it wasn't terribly expensive either. Did you hear? Yes. Yes. Okay. I set this off because I don't really need it, right? I could say simply, whoops, The sentence makes sense if I say the tradition of banging pots and pans at midnight is something I passed on to my children. But I want to tell you some extra information, and I'm going to tell you that I learned it from my grandmother, and this is true. When we were children, we thought it was great fun. At midnight, we would stay up on New Year's Eve, and she'd let us go out. We'd open the door and step outside, and we'd bang some pots and pans to welcome the new year. She also had a bell, and so one person would be banging pots and pans, another person would be ringing a bell, and we'd yell, "Happy New Year!" So I don't know if anyone else did it, but it was our fun family tradition, and I let my children do that when they were growing up too. Okay. Yes, so here, if I say simply, the restaurant wasn't cheap, you will not understand which restaurant I mean unless there's this larger context, in our conversation. But if I want to be very clear and identify which restaurant I'm talking about, I need this information, and therefore commas aren't needed. Okay? So good questions. Those were the 2 questions that came in. I always welcome questions. I answer questions every day, Instagram and YouTube, and I try to check the public comments for questions. If they're short enough questions, I answer. Sometimes there are very long questions posted, and that's better for a private lesson. But in any case, joining as a member is another way to get detailed answers to your questions, because I look for the questions and I answer them during the live stream. Okay? All right, let's move on. And I want to talk about resolutions versus affirmations for a moment. Let's take this out of the picture and let's talk about resolutions first. You'll see many videos, blogs, podcasts, all kinds of articles about making resolutions for the new year. Resolutions are associated with the new year. Have you heard about making resolutions for the new year? And you can give an example. All right. Oh, Yvonne, I'm sorry to hear about Rex. I wish Rex good health. I want Rex to have a good year. I know Rex is a dear beloved pet. So I wish Rex and the rest of the household good health. Okay. A resolution is a noun, and it's a promise to ourselves, right? A resolution. If you resolve to do something, it's a decision to do something. A decision to do something. Or maybe decision to make a positive change. I would say when we talk about a New Year's resolution, let's do it that way. New Year's resolution. Somebody might ask you, have you made any New Year's resolutions? They're asking you if you've made any plans. Have you decided to change your lifestyle or do something new to improve how you live? What kinds of promises have you made, and which promises are you going to try to keep? Right? Resolutions. Exactly, Manuel. There are a lot of resolutions, but people don't always keep them. What happens is we make them and we break them. We make promises and we break promises. And it's hard because we really do this with good intentions and hope that we can continue this for all 365 days of the year, but very often somewhere in a few months into the year, and especially at the halfway point, we start getting tired and we come up with different excuses and we end up breaking our New Year's resolutions. So it's a wonderful idea. Some people can make a New Year's resolution and keep them. So you can either keep them or break them. Make promises, break promises, keep promises. And you can do the same with resolutions. Make a resolution, keep your resolution, and you can break it, right? And that's why I want to talk about affirmations, right? I'm going to, yes, yes. Very good, Manuel. We use language like, I'm going to do this, I will do this. And we want to, and then it's hard to keep those promises, right, Paula? I agree. We try. We want to. The intention is there, but it becomes more and more difficult to keep them. So an affirmation is of a different concept. Whoopsies. let it put it down here. Affirmation. You can tell by the ending that it's also a noun, right? Look at that noun ending. ION, TION, those are noun endings. Resolution from resolve. Affirmation from affirm. An affirmation. I'll give you a couple examples and then perhaps you can help me create a definition for an affirmation. I am capable. I am healthy. I take care of myself. I am honest and I love honest people. I want to be happy. I deserve to be happy. I have knowledge and I can always improve my knowledge because I have the desire to always gain knowledge. I guess that could be more concise. I am capable of learning and I love to learn. A new beginning. Resolutions have that intention of making a new beginning. Affirmations are more so said in the present tense. We don't shift to the future. We stay in the present and we're affirming what we believe about ourselves and our lives. Instead of saying like, I will start to exercise, you say like, I exercise because I'm a healthy person. I am a healthy person and I exercise to remain healthy. So this is more about being in tune with who you are or like who you want to be. But if you use the affirmations, you're talking to yourself and shaping this ideal identity. Maybe it's part of you already, but it's also shaping you into who you want to become. And so affirmations are positive statements and they make us feel good about ourselves. They're motivating, they're inspiring because it's not about a goal, it's about who we are. And because of who we are, what can we now do? Do you see the difference? So the resolution is more about, the promise that I'm going to do and I will do it starting on January 1st. And that's what you want to happen and what you want to make real. And you try, but people break these resolutions. They're hard to keep. With affirmations, you're starting right here, right now, from this moment. I am this kind of person, a good person, a competent, talented, smart, healthy person. And because I'm this person, I will have a great year. So it's a bit different. It's a different perspective. And I'm trying now, I started in 2022 and I'm moving into 2023 with affirmations, not resolutions. There's a lot of affirmations online. You can just Google it and you're going to get tons of lists of affirmations. Okay, so affirmations are like positive statements, I guess. Positive statements to oneself that inspire, motivate, give us confidence. And again, we're affirming who we are, meaning who we really want to be, the best parts of ourselves. Isn't that nice? Every day I'm swimming. You could say, I am healthy and I swim every day. I am a good health. I am a swimmer, I'm a healthy person who swims every day. I swim because I enjoy it. Something like that. And you'll find a lot of examples online, and that'll start giving you ideas of how you can articulate or express these affirmations. But read what people post. If you like the language, you can use it, or you can obviously change it and customize it for you. I'm not a swimmer, but Manuel is. So we could each start with health. I am a healthy person and I exercise to maintain my health. For me, it means, Tai Chi and taking walks. For Manuel, it's swimming. Exactly, Yvonne. So my suggestion is just consider the idea of not making resolutions and start with affirmations, because affirmations are things that we can say to ourselves not just every day but throughout the day to remind ourselves who we are. One of my things is I need to reduce the sugar because I love sweet things, but I know it's not good. So I'm going to tell myself I am a healthy person and a healthy eater. I eat healthy because I am healthy and I care about my body. So if I keep saying that, when I see the cookies and see the chocolate, I'm going to remind myself I'm a healthy person and I'm a healthy eater. I make healthy choices. You know, these and the affirmations can modify, you can modify them, but again, you want to repeat them often enough so that they remind you about the person you are and really want to be. Okay? Now, some resolutions you can keep. You can, Manuel. If you have the right motivation to keep you on track, you wanted 3 years ago. Oh, resolution 3. So you made a resolution 3 years ago, and this year you're going to start. This year I will start going to the an official school. Well, I wish you the best of luck, Manuel. Right? So one of the affirmations can be, I am a language learner and I learn every day. I learn and I practice every day. Right? I speak English, not I will speak. I speak English and I am speaking better and better every day. There's an affirmation. I know a lot of words and I continue learning words every day. Rather than I'm going to learn a lot of words in 2023. I am an English learner and I already know many words and I learn words every day. I practice every day. There's the affirmation. So yes, you can make a New Year's resolution, but I'm starting to think that we're going to have more success with affirmations compared to resolutions. Again, my own students and especially my Patreon members are wonderful people, and I get a lot of my book recommendations from my members. And I have to thank one of my Patreon members for introducing me to someone whose work I've really enjoyed. Louise Hay, and I have her book, and it is full of affirmations. If you're lucky enough to live near a library that has it, get the copy. That's what I did. But you can also Google Louise Hay and put just in a search, Louise Hay affirmations. Do a search like that. Here's my recommendation. Louise Hay affirmations, and you're going to see like a list of at least like 100 affirmations, very positive statements that you can say. You choose ones that connect with you. Not all of them will resonate. Not all of them will make you feel like that's the one I want to say, but you'll probably find a few like, that's a good one. That's what I want to say to myself. That's an affirmation I could say every day, and perhaps that will help you stay on track with the habits that you're creating. Right? While we're talking about book recommendations, about 2 years ago, another Patreon member recommended the book Atomic Habits. And you can combine Atomic Habits, the ideas from that, with affirmations, and I think it's a nice combination. I've been hearing people talk more and more about this book. The fact that one of my upper level learners read it tells you that it is accessible to language learners. I would definitely say high intermediate, yes, with a bit of a challenge, but if you're at the advanced reading level, definitely try reading. And you want to read books that have meaning and that are interesting to you. So those are my recommendations, okay? Deeds, not words. Yes. Good, Paula. We're reviewing. Keep a promise, break a promise. Make a resolution, make a promise. The verbs are the same. Make, keep, break. Okay? Yvonne, so you have to tell yourself when you see the chocolate, I am a healthy person and I make healthy choices. So you can have a little bit of chocolate, right? But not a lot. When you think of chocolate, think of moderation, not abundance. I'm a healthy person. I make healthy choices. That's the affirmation that you and I need to say so that we don't overeat and we don't eat too much chocolate because we know that's not good for us. Okay? All right. So what are we going to do with the time we have left? Let's go over the contractions. This is going to be a review for the pronunciation. I've had a couple of requests to go over the pronunciation of all the contractions. We'll see how much we can do within the time that we have. So I'm going to double check. Our sound is still good. Good to see the activity there. Chocoholic, there's a fun word. Okay, with the verb be, we have, I don't like red. Let's go with black. Okay. Oh, why does it keep switching to? I don't like that. I want to do black. I'm, right? I'm, your, he's, she's, it's, we're, your, there. Again, I'm, your, he's, she's, it's, we're, your, there. Some people, when they write affirmations, they don't use contractions. They use full forms, like I am a healthy eater. And it's sometimes the fuller form makes us feel even more confident because it sounds like such an announcement to ourselves and to the world. I am a healthy eater and I make healthy choices. But you could use contractions as well. Okay. If we're talking about negatives, what would we have? We'd have things like isn't. Let's change that to black. Isn't, aren't, wasn't, weren't. Now, if I'm speaking carefully, you're going to hear me produce a final T at the end. Aren't, wasn't, weren't. If I'm speaking fast, and particularly if something follows these contractions, especially a consonant sound, you're going to hear me use a glottal stop. Instead of aren't, I'll say aren't. And I'm using the glottal stop that you hear in phrases like uh-oh, button, mountain, important. That's a glottal stop. So sometimes when the T is at the end or before a pause, we use a glottal stop. So let me read it first with a true T. Isn't, aren't, wasn't, weren't. And now I'll use a glottal stop. Isn't, aren't, wasn't, weren't. I am not dropping the T. If I dropped the T, I'd get wern, and I'd hold out the N. So I'm not dropping the T. I'm changing the true T to a glottal stop. Weren't, wasn't, wasn't. You cut off the sound, okay, with a glottal stop. Yes, let's add those two. We're getting there. Let's do have, I've. We'd be using this in the present perfect, for example. I've, you've. And then he has, she has is going to be the same, right? He's, she's. Remember, you have to be aware of your grammar. When you see these contractions, you have to recognize if it's the present progressive, like he is swimming, he's swimming, versus the present perfect. He's been swimming for an hour. He has been swimming for an hour. So the contractions look the same and sound the same, but you need to be able to recognize whether the S represents is or has. I've, you've, he's, same thing with it's, like it's been a long time. We've, you've, they've. Again, I've, you've, he's, she's, it's, we've, you've, they've. They've been here for a while, right? They've been making wonderfully healthy choices. They've been reading new books throughout the year, right? I am a reader. I read books. I've been reading books. I'm going to read books, right? Perhaps you, instead of saying, I will read more in 2023, I will read more in general, or I'll read a book in English. If you make the resolution, you might end up breaking it, but maybe you'll start with an affirmation. I am an avid reader. I love to read in English. And because you love to read, you will find the time. Okay? 3 wise men. Oh, it is. I wish you a wonderful holiday today then. For family. Go be with your family, and I wish you the very best in 2023. You and all your family members, Manuel. Thank you for spending some time with us. Take care. Okay? They've. If we're doing contractions here, let's do haven't, hasn't, haven't, hasn't. And if we're going to do with had, I'd been there for a while. I'd never done that. I had never done that. I'd, you'd, he'd, she'd. I don't really like this one. I would say it would. For me, it sounds weird to use that contraction. I think I'm trying to think what I even say it. It had been a while. It had been a while. It had been a while. You might be able to say it in conversation. It had been a while. It had been. I would prefer to keep it, and then I would flap my T to link it had. It had been. It had been. It had been a while. It had been a while. It had been. It had been. It had been a while. So you might see like that, but for me it looks a little bit weird. It had been. She'd is more common. We'd, they'd, and then over here, hadn't, hadn't, hadn't. Again, I could say a true T, hadn't, or hadn't. I can use the glottal stop. Again, listen to the true T, haven't, hasn't, hadn't. Glottal stop, haven't, hasn't, hadn't. Okay. With will, did we miss? If I missed something, let me know. Okay, had, I'll, you'll, he'll, she'll, it'll, you might hear that, it'll be a while, it'll, we'll, they'll. Did I miss any? Oh, why did I say your twice? Because of the singular and plural, but you get what I do. We could actually delete that, right? Singular and plural is the same. Singular and plural is the same. Okay. And over here, let's drop this down one, and this one is going to be won't. Again, I can do a true T, won't, or I can do the glottal stop, won't. I won't be there. I won't eat too much chocolate because I am a healthy eater. I won't eat too much chocolate. Okay. Moving on to could. Mostly with the negative is what I'm thinking over here, like couldn't. And of course, actually what we could do is take the time to do all the modal verbs. You're not going to have contractions in the affirmative, just I should, I might, but in the negatives, couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't. Let's use those, okay? First with a true T, couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't. With a glottal stop, couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't. It'll be a little. Good rhyming there. Could, oh, can. Same thing here. Let's just continue with another modal verb then. Can't, and with a glottal stop, can't. This is one of the harder ones. You do want to make sure that the T is pronounced either with the true T or the glottal stop. When it's affirmative, we hold out that vowel sound into the N. Can, can. Don't rush through the affirmative because people need to hear that is C-A-N, can. Of course, yes, I can. In a short form, you want to take the time to say the word very clearly. I can. Yes, I can. Can you come over? Yes, I can. Can. Of course, in fast speech, the affirmative is going to reduce and it will sound more like kin, kin. The N, though, is still clearly heard. It's the a that changes to kin, kin. I can come over. I can come over. Now, in the negative, the can't is going to have a glottal stop most of the time. Can't. I can't come. I can't come. It's a cutoff sound, so I don't hear the same vowel length. I can come. I can't come. Okay? All right, and do. Let's go to our last group here. Do, does, did, we're fine there. It's just the negatives we want to be careful with. Okay? Moving down here, we have don't, doesn't, and didn't. Same thing. I'll say it with a true T. Don't, doesn't, didn't. And I'm not using a lot of breath. That aspiration is controlled. I'm not saying don't, doesn't. That's not what I'm suggesting. There's a true T, but there's less of that puff. Don't, doesn't, didn't. Okay? With a glottal stop, don't, doesn't, didn't. Again, I'm not dropping the T. If I drop the T, this would sound like didn't. I'm saying didn't and cutting off the sound. Didn't. Okay? All right, so contractions, important to say clearly so that you're heard and understood correctly. Where this comes into play is we're going to wind down as we get into some positive affirmations, what to say and what not to say, what to say, what not to say. So I don't suggest saying, for example, I can't speak English well, right? That's not good. You don't want to say that, but what you could say is, I speak English and I'm getting better every day. Whoopsies, let's make that a happy face. Okay, so this is not what you want to say. I'll give that a big red mark and we'll make it extra big, saying no, 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 don't say it. Okay, don't say I can't speak English well. I speak English and I'm getting better every day. That's an affirmation for a language learner. I speak English and I'm getting better every day. I understand more every day because I am a good learner. I practice every day. I learn every day. I make improvements all the time. Right? I speak English and I'm getting better every day. What else might you say? Don't say, Okay, it's not a bad thing. We all make mistakes, and of course we try not to make them, but it's not the positive mindset that you want, and it's not the mindset that's going to lead you to success. So what would I suggest? I speak to communicate, and I learn from my mistakes. I never fear them. Something like that. Again, I speak to communicate, and I learn from my mistakes. I never fear them. Okay? Maybe if you have your own affirmations, you can write them down. If you are in the chat, feel free to write a positive affirmation for a language learner. If you're watching the recording, you could put it in the chat. But you get the idea. We could use positive language to affirm who we are. And if we are convinced about this person that we are, then we will make the best choices as a language learner to achieve the success that we want. right? So stop with the negative talk, embrace the positive talk, and perhaps don't worry so much about keeping resolutions. Start with positive affirmations to remember that you are competent, you are smart, you are capable, you learn from mistakes, and you are getting better at English every day, okay? Because you are a dedicated learner and a good learner, okay? We can talk about that in a moment. But let me also share this with you. If you like the idea of affirmations, especially affirmations for a language learner, this is a link to a post that I shared with teachers. Let me quickly go over to this over here. This is the latest blog post on my blog for teachers, but anyone is welcome to come here. This is what it looks like when you visit. It's English with Jennifer at wordpress.com. The latest post includes some affirmations. So these were ones that I created. Teachers can share with students, or if you're a learner yourself, if you like one, you can keep it. I think you can definitely save the image to your computer. I don't fear mistakes. I learn from them. I celebrate my learning. Through my honest efforts, my knowledge and my skills grow. Like that one? Through daily practice, my skills improve. I never stop learning. So if there's one of the affirmations sounds good to you and you'd like to adopt it, come over to the WordPress site and you can save the image, and that can be an affirmation for you to say every day in 2023. Okay. All right, I see one final question has come in. Some clauses in compound sentences cannot stand alone. Correct. I think you're more so just commenting on sentence structure. Yes. Your example, I didn't see the movie, nor. Yeah, I didn't see the movie, nor did most of the class. Yes. You're adding on and with nor we have that subject verb inversion. You cannot say nor most of the class did, nor requires us to switch so that the verb comes first, and we're using in this case a helping verb. Nor did most of the class. Nor did most of the class. I don't want to be known as someone who is all talk. Actions speak louder than words. Yes. But self-talk is a good thing, right? Self-talk can motivate us to produce the actions that we really want to do. Okay? You'll think about it. Good. All right, we're going to wind down. Again, I thank you so much for your patience. We were off to a rough start with a weird echo. We got rid of the echo and we were able to continue with our live stream. I want to remind you there are other ways to gain practice with me. YouTube members, there will be a follow-up task on the community tab after this live stream. So visit the community tab later today to gain practice. I think we've covered all questions. I checked the chat. I don't think I've missed anything new. Next month is a new month and you can post more questions for me to answer. If you really want to go all in and you are high intermediate or advanced, I suggest that you join me on Patreon. Patreon is a program, it's an ongoing program where the members vote for a new topic every month, and we have Zoom classes. Usually, I guarantee one, there's usually two for people to join at different times. The mics and the videos are on, so there's lots of interaction. There are language tasks between classes. There's also a final exclusive live stream at the end of the month. Okay, so a Zoom class, usually one or two, a live stream, lots of tasks throughout the month. The topic that the members chose for January is connecting ideas. Tasks have already been posted. We're going over different kinds of conjunctions at the moment. So if you'd like to work on grammar and writing, and also of course we'll do some speaking on Zoom, then you can consider joining us. Again, the required level is high intermediate. That's a minimum. The pace is rather fast. The challenge is rather high. So I welcome high intermediate and advanced students. Okay, I'm going to be winding down, and I hope that I've answered all questions. Oh, I got a super sticker, and I'm so very thankful. Thank you so much. Look at that dancing pair. Thank you very much, Stunning Lad One. Okay, so I want to wish all of you a very happy new year. I wish you all the best in 2023. May it be happy, healthy, productive, and prosperous for you all. I hope that it goes beyond your expectations and it turns out to be a wonderful year. I wish everyone everywhere peace. That's first and foremost, peace and good health, and then may you all be able to pursue your dreams. And as we all say our affirmations, may those dreams start becoming reality. That's what I wish for you. All right, winding down. Thank you for joining me. Happy studies.